Have you ever decorated with yellow as a spring accent before? Well, I never have, but we're going to do it today. I'm going to use some pale yellow in our foyer display table. I was inspired by this yellow ginger jar that I found at Ross. It was only $16.99, which is a great deal for ginger jars. The color is so pretty. It's a very pale pastel yellow, and it has cherry blossoms, which are perfect for spring. Now that we have our color inspiration, we're gonna jump right in and start making some DIYs. Let's start off with creating this spring flower arrangement. We're gonna use a container, a glass container with a gold rim, and we get to use the tape grid method today. Using the tape grid method is a great way to cut down on costs because you don't need floral foam and it's super easy. So we're just gonna run a few lines of tape, just some Scotch tape, across horizontally and vertically to create a grid over the top of my container. The flowers that we're going to be using for our arrangement are from Michael's. They have such a great variety of spring flowers. I was there the other day and I found some pretty yellow tulips. They were on sale for $1.99 a bunch, so I grabbed two. I mean, that's like the price that you could get them at the Dollar Tree. So that was a great deal, and they are so pretty. I also found some white peonies there and they were 40% off, so I got two bunches of those. What I'm gonna do with my floral stems is I'm going to bend them. I love bending my stems. Again, this is a great cost-cutting method because if you wanna use them again, you can just unbend the stem and you haven't done anything permanent to the florals. So after I had bent those stems and stuck in my white peonies, I moved on to my tulips. I did the same thing. I just bent the stem at the end and I nestled that right into my tape grid. The tape grid will hold all the florals in place. Now that I have my flowers exactly where I want them, I want to really up the spring factor, and we're going to make some egg picks. I got a box of egg vase fillers at Target, and I'm going to use some white and yellow ones. Okay, so you know after you trim off the stems of artificial flowers, you have some leftover wire stems. Well, we're gonna use those today to help us make some egg picks. I got some hot glue, and I hot glued the end of the wire, and then I added the egg to the top. Easy, cheap. This is a great way to create a floral pick. Once it was done, I placed it into my floral arrangement. I did 5 of these egg picks, 3 yellow and 2 white, and just scattered them throughout the arrangement. I love the way that these eggs theme this into spring. Finally, I took some greenery and I placed that around the edges and through the center of the arrangement. I absolutely love this. Look how pretty. And you could transition this really easily just by taking out the egg picks, and you would still have a vibrant, pretty, and really kind of neutral arrangement that you could use for a very long time. So this is going to be perfect as the centerpiece in my foyer table. I actually picked up a few things when I went to Ross the other day. Another item that I picked up was a set of 4 bunny coasters. They were $5.99. The only problem was as I unwrapped them, there was a lot of inconsistency in the wood. Some were darker, some were lighter, and there were these weird rings in the center of the coasters, and it just didn't flow very well. And as a set, they did not match. So we're going to make them match by adding a coat of white gloss Rustoleum spray paint. But before we do that, let's take off the bottom part of the coasters, just the little stickers. I peeled those off and then I washed them really well with a damp cloth. Once everything was washed, I took them outside and I sprayed them in a coat of white spray paint. I let them dry for 2 hours and then I flipped them over and I sprayed the other side I made sure that each part was thoroughly coated in the paint, and then I let them dry overnight. To zhuzh these up just a little bit, I wanted to add some more detail to my white bunnies. So I got some Rub and Buff in the color Gold Leaf. I put a little dab of the Rub and Buff onto a paper towel, and then I rubbed it on the edges of all of my bunnies. Having this gold part along the edge of the bunny gives it a subtle detail. You can't see it from the front, but you can definitely see it from the sides and from the top. It almost outlines this bunny and makes it pop. Plus, all of the gold matches with the gold that we have on the table, so it ties everything together. One more detail that I'm going to add to our little bunny is a bow. I had a white and gold bow. I tied it around the neck, and it just finishes off this cute little bunny perfectly. Luckily, they're thick enough that they could stand straight up, and so I added them to my table so that they could hop around and bring spring joy to everybody who comes to the foyer. Last month, I tried out some really tasty Magic Spoon cereal, and I have some more options this month. I have cookies and cream, cinnamon, blueberry, and the one I have been dying to try is maple waffle cereal. Oh my gosh, let's give it a try. I haven't opened it, we're gonna eat it together. Now, one thing I love about Magic Spoon is that they have tasted so good thus far, and they have 0 grams of sugar. 0 grams. I don't know how they do it. It's pretty magic. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that's so good. And it smells like maple. Wow, oh, it's so good. Okay, so there's no way that this doesn't have sugar in it because it tastes so good. It's got low carbs, it has high protein, grain-free, gluten-free, and uses all natural colors. So not only is this great for breakfast, but it's good for snack time, it's good for lunchtime. I do cereal for dinner more times than I would like to admit, but you know what? This is a great healthy alternative to a sugary cereal. They have so many other varieties than what I'm showing you right here, and you can actually build your own box. Magic Spoon has a 100% happiness guarantee. For any reason, if you don't like the cereal, you will be able to get your money back, so you don't have anything to lose. I will leave a link to Magic Spoon in my description box, as well as the code LISA5 to get $5 off any variety pack. And to all of my Canadian and British friends, they are now shipping to Canada and the UK, so you can try it out as well. So head on over to Magic Spoon and check out the delicious variety of cereals that they have for you to pick from. Last month, I tossed some cereal into my mouth and I got it on the first try. Today, we're gonna up the ante, and I'm gonna give some cereal to my son who's across the room. He's gonna toss it. We're gonna see if I can catch it.
All right, you ready?
Go. Yes!
Woo!
Nice. The third and final piece that I picked up at Ross was a glass beaded garland. It's so pretty, it's really heavy, and it was only $8.99. I love this glass garland because it's a blank slate. It's gonna go with every color scheme, every design, every season because it's neutral. So to stick with that neutral theme, we're going to create some tassels to put on the ends because the ends are blank, and so we want to spruce it up just a little bit. So I got some ribbon, and this ribbon is from Michaels. It's the same ribbon that we used on our bunny, and I also got a cardstock card. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to wrap this ribbon around and around and around this cardstock until I've done it about 25 to 30 times. Again, dependent on the tassel is how many times you're gonna wanna wrap this ribbon around the card. If you want a thicker, lush tassel, just keep wrapping until you're satisfied. If you want a thin one, then you don't need to wrap it around quite as much. Once I had it to the perfect size, I took a segment of ribbon and I tied a knot in the center. And then I cut the bottom portion of the ribbon. And now I have something that looks a little bit like this. So it's not quite a tassel, and we're going to shape it into a tassel by taking another segment of that ribbon and wrapping it about a third of the way down the tassel, tie it in a knot, and now I have a cute little tassel. Super easy, right? Now, the way that we're going to attach it to the garland is with some fishing line. So I took a piece of fishing line and I threaded it through the center of the tassel, and then I took both ends of the fishing line and I threaded them through the bottom bead on the garland. Once I had both ends of the fishing line threaded up through the first bead in the garland, I tied it into a knot. That secures everything together. I repeated this process with a second tassel and I added it to the other end of the garland. Now I have this beautiful beaded garland with an elegant tassel that again is so neutral. It's going to fit into so many different displays and it's going to be able to add a lot of sparkle and interest. Now, I must have done a really poor job packing away my bunnies last spring because I pulled out these cute bunnies right here and both of them had some ears that had fallen off. Sad business, but luckily we can reattach them. So I got some hot glue and I put those ears back on. However, I'm left with a big crack. Now, I want to hide that crack, and the easiest way to do it is by creating a bow and just hot gluing it right along that ear to hide that crack. And now my bunnies look so pretty, don't they? So I guess in the end, it's okay that they have a crack in the ear. We're going to add our freshened up bunnies to the inside of this jar. I purchased this at Home Goods, and at Christmas time, I put in a Santa and some bottle brush trees and some Epsom salt snow, and I loved the way it looked. So we're going to use it again in the springtime, only this time instead of Epsom salt snow, we're going to use some raffia. So I put in a bunch of raffia at the bottom, then I put in a small cupcake stand, which is going to add height to one of my bunnies. And now it's time to add in our little bunnies. We just snuck them right through the hole and added them into our jar. Now it didn't come with a lid, so I'm using a lid from another ginger jar. I'm just gonna put that over the top. And then we're gonna take our glass garland and we're going to drape that around the neck of the jar. I love the way that this looks. It's so unique and it really lends to an elegant feel. By having a neutral piece, you can again transition it so easily from Christmas to spring. All you have to do is change out the contents inside. My video today is part of a collaboration with several very talented YouTube ladies. There are a whole lot of us getting together to bring you some spring decor. The host of this collaboration is Diane and Yanni from Deco Easy. I will leave a link to the playlist in my description box, and I will also leave a link to Deco Easy. So make sure that you hop on over and check out all of the videos that these beautiful ladies created. Next to my inspiration piece, we're going to add a tall white ginger jar. Now this was a thrift flip that we created a while ago. It started out as a pretty scary looking vase. We added a lid and now it's a beautiful ginger jar. To spruce this up and to tie it into the rest of the color scheme, I'm going to add a ribbon. Now I couldn't find a ribbon that I liked, and so I thought I'll just make my own. So I got two separate ribbons. One was thicker and had a dashed detail along the edges, and the other is a striped ribbon that I purchased at Home Goods. To create this ribbon, all I need to do is put some hot glue in the center of the thicker ribbon and then add the thinner ribbon to the center. This is such an easy way to get a custom look because you can again create a ribbon that will fit into any color scheme or season simply by hot gluing two ribbons together. Once my ribbon was done, I simply just draped it around the neck of my ginger jar. And then to hold the ribbon in place, I'm going to be using a hair clip. Yes, a hair clip. I got a few of these. They are from Hobby Lobby, and all I did was I just took it off. It's got a little clip on it, and I clipped the ribbon to hold it in place. Now, I've used brooches before. You can use costume jewelry, you can use buttons. Anything that's decorative would be perfect as a center point to hold the ribbon together. And I love the lace on this pretty little hair clip because I think it's feminine and delicate and lends itself really well to spring. So now that all of our DIYs are done, let's display them on our foyer table. Of course, we're gonna start off with the centerpiece, which is our floral arrangement. Now, I placed it on top of a marble tray. The marble tray is perfect because it brings in, again, an elegant element, but it also adds some white to the bottom, which makes the flower arrangement pop. To this side, we're going to place our ginger jars on top of a marble riser. Adding height to this side gives the tablescape variety. I also placed a bunny on top of the riser and then one below. And then on this side, we have our glass display piece with our bunnies inside. Again, to add some height, I'm going to get a clear cake stand and I'm going to add my large jar to the top of that. And then at the base, we have two more of our cute little bunnies. I would say that any level of DIYer could create all of the pieces that we made today. They were all super easy, non-challenging. You didn't need any special equipment to create any of these, but wow, it really just screams spring. And I think that every piece looks elegant. It's neutral, and I love the pale yellow accent. I don't know why I haven't used it before, but I'm glad that I used it this spring. Hopefully one of these spring DIYs that we created today inspired you, made you feel like you can make your own spring pieces. I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.